Best in the business.
Best in the business.
Ego.
The ego.
That's ego.
We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxing Ego Unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live.
Oh, the humanity. Terence Crawford resume gets flamed by Eddie Hearn. Now, Eddie Hearn, we're going to get to what he had to say, but it's exactly what Boxing Ego has been telling you about Bud Crawford's resume. Talented fighter, but in this video, I will break down why the resume just doesn't really stack up to the all-time great resumes we've seen. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, shout out to everybody for the support. I've been getting a lot of cash apps. I've been busting my butt, putting out fire content. Obviously, y'all show y'all love in the super chats, the super thanks, and the cash apps and whatnot. So I can tell when I'm doing a great job, an excellent job. So shout out to y'all who have been very supportive of the channel as we get through this year in boxing. Now, Eddie Hearn did a brand new interview with Fight Hype. And in my opinion, he completely exposed Terence Bud Crawford's resume. And we're going to listen to a snippet. I'll put the link in the description, but we going to get through this. I got a lot to say. Yeah. My big mouth. I speak from the heart. I'm real. My big mouth. We got a lot to talk about because I just can't wait, man. I can't help but wait till the day. I feel like Trey Songz. So let me cue everything up and we're going to get in the mix. But Eddie Hearn said some good things. And my thing is this. Do I like being right? Probably. Absolutely. You know, what can I say? But I don't want to be right at the cost of like lying. So that's the thing with my content. I never lie on anybody. I always give you a fair, objective take, whether, despite what people say, right? Crawford is a very talented fighter. I covered a lot of his fights. But when it comes to that resume, we'll hear what Eddie Hearn had to say. That rhymes. Roll the clip.
Be massive, massive.
Canelo come out and said, who has he fought though?
Do you know what? I actually, when I was on a plane with him,
Gamboa?
Crawford, to Riyadh,
I saw the photo.
it's quite interesting. I said to him, the problem with you is your resume doesn't reflect that of a pound for pound, number one or number two. Your ability is unquestionable. But I think in terms of his ability, he might be pound for pound number one. I think Usyk has to sit there. But I put Crawford as pound for pound number two, in my opinion.
Top three.
Yeah, but when you look at his resume, like I said to him, who's your best win ever? Do you know?
Oh, the humanity. Bro, this is what I've been saying. So Eddie Hearn is saying verbatim what I have told you on the channel. And when I say it, it's a problem. When I say it, I'm hating on Crawford. I have something against Crawford. But now you have a white man from the UK saying it. Do you guys feel better? He literally said, I sat on a plane next to Crawford and I said, you know what your problem is? You are exceptionally talented, which is what I've always said. Crawford, the boy can fight. He has skills. But he says, when we're looking at generational greats, you do not have the resume for one reason or another that really suffices to make the claim. Like, yes, you're 42-0 or whatever the record is, but 42, were any of them in prime? Were they big names? That kind of thing. That stuff matters, right? Like, if we're talking football, Tom Brady is going against Eli and he's going against Peyton Manning, Mahomes, and then he comes out with Super Bowl rings. That's why he could be the GOAT, because he went against all of his era's best, and he was in the sport for like 20 years or whatever, 16 plus years at the highest level. So he faced the Drew Breeses and the Kaepernicks and everybody who was relevant. And certain years he won, and he has more rings than anybody else. So that shows you the greatness. Crawford, you know he can fight, but it's like when you look at some of the opponents, you're like, was that like an in-prime version of that person? Blah, blah, blah. But we'll keep going. Let Eddie Hearn keep cooking.
But I put Crawford as pound for pound number 2, in my opinion.
Top 3.
Yeah, but when you look at his resume, like I said to him, who's your best win ever? Do you know what he said to me? Ricky Burns.
Yeah.
Right? And listen, Ricky Burns was my guy.
Yeah, I remember.
But Ricky Burns never, went on a run where he was beating elite guy after elite guy after elite guy.
That's right, I did say that.
So you're saying that's your best win?
He didn't say Spence, he didn't say
No, he didn't
Gamboa.
say Spence because I think also probably emotionally, the Burns fight was his first championship, all that kind of stuff. But Ricky Burns was a great fighter. But also, if you're going to be a generational great, you're telling me that's your best win?
Oh my God. Eddie Hearn is flaming the boy. He's like, I asked him, I said, who's your best win? Whose mess is this? And he said, do you know what he told me? Crawford said it was Ricky Burns. And he was like, Ricky Burns was my guy. So what he means by my guy is Eddie Hearn is saying Ricky Burns was signed to my company, Matchroom and Rematch Room, and he promoted the fight. That's what he's telling you. And although he's my guy, he was like, pretty much he's saying Ricky Burns is not a world beater. Like, he's not this like vicious, like he was just going through guys and da-da-da-da. And you're telling me this is your best win ever. It don't really stack up. Bro, do you know how bad that is for the promoter of the fighter you're calling your best win ever, Ricky Burns? And he's from Scotland, Ricky Burns, and Eddie Hearn's from the UK, and signed him. And he's saying like, pretty much that's nothing to write home about. Do you know how bad that is for Crawford to say that? Plus, I think personally, I think Crawford hates on Errol Spence, so he don't want to give credit to Errol Spence by saying Errol Spence is his best win for whatever reason. So he'll go to Ricky Burns. But again, even if it is a near and dear personal favorite of yours, it just sounds silly to say your best win ever was Ricky Burns. No one else feels that way but you, I can assure you. Let's keep going though.
Errol Spence was damaged goods, right? Which was a shame.
Oh my God. The man said Errol Spence was damaged goods, which was a shame. So when Boxing Ego says something was wrong with Errol Spence, he looked like a shell of his former self. I don't know if the accident took his toll, coming off injuries, staying at welterweight so long. When I said these things, I was public enemy number 1. But now you got Eddie Hearn, who says he said this to Crawford's face, and nobody's complaining about it. But let Boxing Ego say any of these things, and y'all say I'm hating. But nobody is saying that Eddie Hearn, a white male from the UK, is hating on Terence Crawford. Funny how that works.
Errol Spence was damaged goods, right? Which was a shame because, and I went through this with Crawford. I said, Kell Brook was at the end of his career. So was Amir Khan. You beat Gamboa,
Sean
but
Porter.
Kell Brook was at the end of his career, and so was Amir Khan. Again, Eddie Hearn worked with these fighters. These are UK fighters that he's saying. Burns from Scotland, close enough. Right? But Kell Brook is a longtime Eddie Hearn fighter, and he's telling you what I've been telling you, saying that Kell Brook was like done. Like, he's basically saying he's washed in a nice way. He was like, he was at the end of his career, at the end of his rope. So was Amir Khan when you fought him. Not looking good for.
I went through this with Crawford. I said, Kell Brook was at the end of his career. So was Amir Khan.
He said, I went through this with Crawford. Listen closely. I went through this with Crawford. So he's saying, I told Crawford to his face everything. But again, when Boxing Ego, a stupid YouTuber, says this, it's World War III, and I don't know boxing. I get called names. I'm a hater, all this type of stuff. Eddie Hearn is saying verbatim what I've been saying. Looking shaky, baby.
I went through this with Crawford. I said, Kell Brook was at the end of his career. So was Amir Khan. I mean, you beat Gamboa,
Sean
but
Porter.
yeah, Porter, Benavidez at 140, and Dongo. I mean, you know,
Kamalaskas.
but it wasn't his fault, by the way. I just think he's been unlucky that either people haven't wanted to fight him or he just missed out on the weight classes when they were full of the big names.
Right. Okay.
But this is the win, in my opinion, that puts him as a generational great. And ability-wise,
Yeah.
he's unquestionably a generational great.
See, notice everybody, no one disrespects Crawford's ability to fight. I noticed that. Everybody says he can fight. Like, oh man, he can fight his butt off, right? But they're talking about the politics, and for one reason or another, when it was all said and done, who you faced just weren't like that person, you know, him at that particular time. He says if he could beat Canelo, this will like help solidify him. So he's basically saying he needs the Canelo victory to really put a stamp on his career.
But if you want to be, I guess you can always be picky with resumes.
Yeah.
But if you want to be picky with Crawford's resume, it ain't difficult to do.
If you want to be picky with Terence Crawford's resume, then it ain't difficult to do. Beautifully stated from Eddie Hearn. Now, I'm going to be real with you. This is the element that I don't respect about Terence Crawford, and other fighters do this also, right? And let me break it down. Us YouTubers, I can't speak for anybody else, so I'm speaking for myself, but me as a YouTuber, when I say literally what Eddie Hearn just said, and I said it years ago, right? I'm the bad guy. I get called names. Then you have Terence Crawford himself who will take shots. He blocked me on social media. He took shots at me, and he'll make statements like, oh, you stupid ass YouTubers, y'all don't know anything about boxing. You are ruining the sport of boxing. Won't. But Eddie Hearn is telling you to your face exactly what Boxing Ego has said in the same fashion. He was like, if you want to criticize Terence Crawford's resume, it's not hard. And guess what? Eddie Hearn, a white man from the UK, Crawford, a black man from the USA, and it seems like Crawford has no problem accepting this constructive criticism or feedback from a dude from the UK who's in boxing and a promoter, right? And like he's not blocking Eddie Hearn, but he's blocking Boxing Ego when I've said the same thing. You guys make that make sense, right? And then it'll be Crawford and Crawford's team. They'll be like, oh, you YouTubers are stupid. You hurt the sport of boxing. Y'all don't know boxing and y'all dumb and da-da-da-da-da. You're not a pro fighter. Well, guess what? Eddie Hearn ain't a pro fighter. Eddie Hearn's never been a pro fighter. So what makes it so different where Eddie Hearn can literally say the same thing that Boxing Ego been saying and it's passable, right? You just accept it. You're not cussing him out. You're not blocking him. You're not saying he don't know ish about boxing. If anything, Crawford was shooting darts with Eddie Hearn. There's videos of Crawford shooting darts with Eddie Hearn. So in the words of Tupac Shakur, somebody got to explain somebody got to explain that to me intelligently and make it make sense how when I say something and I'm the first to say it, it's the fans, the usual suspects, the resistance, and they're like, you're just a big hater. You've always hated Crawford, but not one of y'all is going to Eddie Hearn's comment section and saying he's a big hater and he hates Crawford and da-da-da-da. And aside from you guys not criticizing Eddie Hearn for saying the same thing. On top of that, not one of y'all are proving us wrong and proving how Crawford didn't fight a damaged goods Errol Spence or didn't fight Amir Khan and Sean Porter and Kell Brook kind of at the end of their rope. It was literally Sean Porter's last fight. It was Kell Brook and Amir Khan, part of their like last 2 fights of their career, because they end up fighting each other, Amir Khan and Kell Brook. And it was like, everyone was like, this fight is so past its expiration date, right? So you can't really deny what's been said. So this is looking bad for Crawford. This is the predicament that he's in. Again, Boxing Ego says it, and I don't know boxing. I'm a hater. Canelo says it, Eddie Hearn says it, and y'all accept it. And that's it. It's just that. And Crawford is professional enough that he can play games and throw darts with Eddie Hearn, but then he got a problem with Boxing Ego. Please make it make sense. Please make it make sense. I can't wait to hear y'all pitiful, sorry, foolish explanations for a clear double standard of how Eddie Hearn is on record telling you, I told Crawford to his face, like, da-da-da-da. You're saying Ricky Burns is your best win. He's my fighter, and I'm telling you that win pretty much is not all that. So you're a talented guy, and on ability, you're top shelf. You can fight, but you don't have the legacy in prime names to really justify that. And I agree. That's why, like, for me, okay, first of all, Crawford's fighting 1 time a year since 2020. So for 5 years, he's fighting 1 time a year. How can we put him above Usyk when Usyk moved up in weight classes? Usyk's been multiple time undisputed, and Usyk is fighting guys that are 30 pounds bigger than him at heavyweight, coming from cruiserweight, and he's fighting more frequently. He fought Tyson Fury twice in the span of 12 months. Crawford's fighting David Avocado, and that's his only fight for the whole year. He's fighting Sean Porter. That's his only fight for the year. He fought Kell Brook. That was his only fight for the year. He fought Errol Spence, who Eddie Hearn says was damaged goods. When I say something was wrong with Errol Spence, oh, I'm just a Spence lover and hater and all that stuff. Eddie Hearn said he was damaged goods. That was his only fight for the year. He fights Madrimov. That's his only fight for the year. Now he's not fighting until Canelo in September in a couple weeks. That'll probably be his only fight for the year. He'll be 38 this year in September, and the Canelo fight is so far into the calendar. Canelo already fought in May against William School. So this will be Canelo, who is close enough in age. This is his second fight, and for Crawford, is his first fight for the year. So again, you guys who go against me, resistance is futile. It is futile. Everything I said was true, and you're finding it out the hard way because other people are now being more vocal about it. Me, people got mad because I said it, and I guess it's unpopular opinion because people weren't ready to hear that and have that conversation. And again, I want you guys to see, everybody is saying Crawford could fight. No, I'm not talking about Crawford's personal life. I'm not talking about his kids. That's what I'm saying. The boxing game is full of clowns, right? Where people, they can't separate their emotion and fandom from reality. I haven't said anything about Crawford personally. He said negative things about me that didn't have nothing to do with like boxing talk, right? We'll leave it at that. But nobody is talking about Crawford, and that's how I know that I'm accurate, because the truth hurts, and you strike a chord when people don't like what you're saying. But if I was saying something that was so foolish and so outlandish, it made no sense, you guys wouldn't even take it serious. The reason why it gets a response, it gets Crawford to block me or gets people mad and emotional is because the truth hurts and they know what I'm saying is the truth. And Eddie Hearn is telling you too in his new Fight Hype interview, right? That is why. And now you guys look dumb because you said I was wrong for X amount of time. Now more and more people are saying it. Like, he just don't have the resume, right? Simply put. You made personal choices. That's why I said bad business, but again, look, this man is throwing darts with Eddie Hearn, sitting ringside with Eddie Hearn, and can have a conversation with Eddie Hearn. Tell Crawford to come on my podcast. Tell him to come on my show. You see what I'm saying? He'd be like, man, I'm not messing with Boxing Ego. Why? Me and Eddie Hearn are saying the same thing. How can you F with Eddie Hearn and he's saying the same thing very bluntly, and he said he told you to your face? Man, you guys got a lot of work. So even the Canelo fight, I don't like the fight, never liked the fight. That's just the reality of it. But for me, even the Canelo fight, some people have already said for years that Canelo is past prime. So for Crawford, this is very much in line with how the rest of his career is played out. Sean Porter, you fight him not when he's a champion like Errol Spence in a unification. You fight him when he's podcasting and started a podcast and he was on a 450-day layoff and he's doing all these Ring City and the commentary jobs, and it's his very last fight of his career. Even his daddy said that. His own daddy said, I threw in the towel because he didn't train for this fight like I know he's capable of. So when the going got tough, he's like, I didn't think he could push through it because he wasn't listening to me in camp. This is all fact. Everything I said in this video is fact, and that's just something you got to deal with. We unpacked. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new, but even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.